Jeremy Simpson versus Jean Topekis. Today is Monday, January 8th, 2024 at 9:56 a.m.
Court will note the appearance of Ms. Reed on behalf of the plaintiff. This matter is before the court on the plaintiff's motion for temporary custody, parenting time, and support. Ms. Reed.
Thank you, Your Honor. The parties share one child together. That's Joseph, who's age 4. Plaintiff is requesting sole legal, sole physical custody of the minor child. The defendant having supervised parenting time. The defendant has had minimal contact with the child, even though the parties share the same residence. She is taken to locking herself in her bedroom. She repeatedly hits the child, and most recently she bit the child, leaving a bruise on the child with teeth marks. The child is afraid of her, and due to her lack of supervision, the child has been permitted to wander off while in her care. And for all these reasons, my client does not let the child be alone with his mother. There's usually himself or a roommate, or the child is in daycare, so the child is not left alone in her care. Since she has been served, there's been repeated threats to kidnap the child. Last week, she has stated that if it does not come away today, that it doesn't matter what the court is going to do, that once my client gets home from work, she will not be at the home, the child will not be at the home, and he will not be able to find her. For all these reasons, we're requesting that she have supervised parenting time, submit to a psychological assessment with Dr. Haugen, and my client gets sole legal and sole physical custody. He is trying to find alternate housing to try and alleviate some of the stress that's going on in the house. But until the parties separate, we believe supervised parenting time is appropriate.
Okay. Mr. Topekis, what's your response?
Is that on to me now?
Yes.
The allegations are not fully accurate, Your Honor. I want 50-50 custody, and I request an attorney, an appointed attorney.
Okay, ma'am, we do not appoint attorneys in these types of cases, so you'll have to acquire an attorney.
Okay, I just wanted to ask. But also, the allegations are fully out of bias. They are out of context. And I am also going to get help for my depression, yes. But I believe that the child deserves 50-50 custody. And I am not saying Jeremy does not have a right. And also, with him knowing the fact of the allegations, are not fully understandable. He basically is taking bits and pieces of it, Your Honor.
Yeah.
And for right now,
go ahead. Anything
if it
else?
was the case, Your Honor, if it was the case if he was feeling unsafe with me with our child, why is our child in my care right now?
Well, anything else, ma'am?
No, not seen, Your Honor.
Anything else, Ms. Reed?
Yes, Your Honor, it's my understanding that the child might be in the care of the defendant right now. She made threats of getting potential PPOs against child care providers to bolster her case, and then went back on those threats. We don't know how valid those threats are, but that was part of the threat of kidnapping after today's hearing, was that my client wasn't allowed to permit the child to go to child care today, so the child would be in her care pending the result of today's hearing.
Okay. Anything else, Mr. Topekis?
Your Honor, I asked, and also the caretaker actually even asked me if I wanted Joe home today, and I said yes. In my opinion, our friend who is staying with us was here to help me, not hinder me. She also has stated to his lawyer that she will also be defending me on my behalf also, Your Honor.
Okay.
And I was informing him of what my sister was telling me what to do. But, Your Honor, I would not do that to him.
Okay. Well, ma'am, just so you know that the child is in the jurisdiction of this court, and the court, when I grant whatever I grant, that will be an order of the court If you violate that
Yes, sir.
court order, you could be held in contempt of court, you could be put in jail. So all I'm saying is that whatever that order is, you're gonna need to comply with that order.
Yes, Your Honor, I will fully comply with your ruling. I'm not going against it whatsoever.
Okay,
But also, he is not home every day, and he is in childcare from all the way till 4 a.m, all the way till he gets home at midnight.
well, that's always unfortunate, and we'll maybe have to assess that at some point in the future as to what we're going to do in this matter. What I'm going to do on a temporary basis, I'm going to grant to the parties temporary joint legal custody. I'm going to grant physical custody to the plaintiff. The parties are, again, apparently still residing together, so they can work out parenting time in the meantime. If in fact there is no agreement, then the court would grant to the defendant standard parenting time, which is alternating weekends, one night through the week, alternating holidays, etc. Court will grant child support consistent with the child support formula, the incomes of the parties. And I'm not going to do anything as it relates at this point to the psychological assessment. The defendant has represented that she's going to get help for her depression. So ma'am, when you do get help for the depression, provide that information to Miss Reed so she would have the information as to where you're going, who you're seeing, because the court will at some point want a report from that particular counselor. Anything else, Miss Reed?
Is the defendant's parenting time supervised?
No, I'm not going to do that at this point. Again, depending upon anything happening in the future, the court could review that at that particular time, but I'm not going to at this time.
I have nothing further.
Mr. Pekas, anything else?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, that will be the order of the court. Ms. Reed, you can prepare an order pursuant to 7-day notice of entry, and we'll have that order take immediate effect as of the time of this hearing.
All right, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. You're free to go. Have
Yep.
a good day. Court will note the appearance of Ms. Paisno on behalf of the plaintiff, Ms. McNiff on behalf of defendant. This matter is before the court on the defendant's motion for temporary custody, parenting time, and support. Ms. McNiff.
Your Honor, I'm sure you've already read our motion.
I have.
I'll update you, but the minor child did spend a night with dad recently. However, that was fraught because dad only has 2 bedrooms, and in the guest room, he only has 1 bed. But the parties have 3 children, even though 2 of them are adults. That becomes problematic. When Lauren spent the night with dad recently, she slept in the bed, but her brother Owen had to sleep in a chair. Owen is 18, he goes to college. There's also a 21-year-old adult son, Quinn, who goes back and forth between the parties. So there simply isn't space for dad to have Lauren on a 50-50 basis. At mom's house, Lauren has her own room, mom has her own room, and the boys, when they're both there, share a bedroom. So it's a more appropriate environment. We think it's going to be difficult for Lauren in this situation, even on a standard parenting time basis, but a 50-50 basis is just absolutely not tenable at this point. Why dad didn't get 2 twin beds or bunk beds or something like that so that the kids don't have to alternate sharing the bed also is problematic. But we would ask that at most dad be granted a standard parenting time situation. We've also asked for sole legal custody primarily because mom is a nurse. Mom has taken care of the child's Graves' disease for her entire life since she's been diagnosed with it. And mom is the one who makes the medical decisions. To have to involve dad in making all of those medical decisions will make it more onerous for her. And so we are asking for sole legal as well as sole physical.
Okay. Ms. Paisno, your response.
Your Honor, I'm hoping the court received my response regarding this. A couple of things in regards to my client's residence. They do have 3 children and 2 of them are adults. The 18-year-old that's been staying with him goes back to school tomorrow, and he did not sleep in a chair. He slept on the couch. My client does have ample room for Lauren to stay with him and has taken her shopping to buy her supplies like shampoo and all the things that she would needed there. There have been no problems with her spending the night with my client, and it has been more than one occasion. I do believe that prior to these parties' separation, they did both share the established custodial environment as they both were actively involved with Lauren in regards to her schooling. Recently, Lauren changed schools this year from now going to Marshall, where she's not doing the greatest. My client's been involved in getting her enrolled in tutoring, making sure that takes place on dad's parenting time as well. The parties have been free of and flexible in regards to parenting time, but we're also dealing with a 14-year-old who has sports and friends that she likes to be involved with. My client, although doesn't live in Marshall like mom does have the ability and has talked to his superior at work to be able to get her to and from school. He has been involved in her medical decisions as well as her medical care during the marriage. My client would have to not be able to spend the night at times because during surgeries, because they had 2 other children at home that needed to be taken care of as well. So mom did primarily do that. However, my client has the ability to make sure the child receives any medications, get her to any doctor's appointments, and take care of her on that end as well. We do believe that joint legal custody is appropriate due to the fact that the parties have both been involved with the minor child and her medical care, and decisions that have been made since then have been made jointly, such as switching schools. And we would ask that they have joint physical custody. As I indicated, my client can get the minor child to and from school on time and does have a proper place for her to stay. We would ask that child support be sent per the formula, but this court order joint legal and joint physical custody.
Okay. Ms. McNiff, any response?
Judge, just that I think the problem is going to be even getting this child to go with dad on 50-50 basis. That's been difficult to get her to go, to the best of my knowledge, for one overnight. So I think 50-50 is going to be problematic.
Well, the court does note that based upon the pleadings that the plaintiff has had very limited parenting time since the parties separated. Again, as stated here today, there was only one overnight in this particular matter. What the court is going to do is the court is going to grant to the parties joint legal custody, physical custody to the defendant in this matter, that the court would award to the plaintiff standard parenting time, provided that the child does have her own bedroom while she is in his particular care. So I don't want her sharing it with, the adult brothers or any other third parties. She'll have her own bedroom when she's in his particular care. The court will enter support consistent with the guidelines and the child support formula. With that, anything else, Ms. McNiff?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Paisno?
Nothing further.
Okay, thank you, Ms. McNiff. You can prepare that and submit under 7 days. That will conclude the hearing. You have a good day.
Thank you, Your Honor.